You guys, this is getting out of hand. The Spurs are having trade rumors about them like every single day. People are writing left and right about who the Spurs should trade for this summer. And if you watched my videos previously, you know I am usually adamantly against the Spurs making a trade this summer. But let's go through this one, see if I like this one any different. So this trade involves Jaylen Brown of the Celtics. The Celtics probably will trade someone this offseason, whether it be Jaylen Brown, whether it be Derek White, Kristaps Porzingis, Drew Holiday. I would assume they trade one of those guys rather than Jaylen Brown, if I had to guess. But maybe they do want to trade Jaylen Brown. He does have a very fat contract, and with Jason Tatum being out most of next year, probably, if not all of next year, with a torn Achilles, should the Celtics treat it as a kind of reload year? You know, we're not going to compete for a championship without Jason Tatum, if that's the way they see it. Let's get under the tax threshold wherever they are. I think they're probably above the second threshold even. The second apron, I should say. Let's try to reload, get a decent draft pick, and run it back 2026. That's what I think the Celtics will do. So if I had to guess, again, if I had to put money on it right now, I would say they're going to trade one of the other guys like Derek White, Drew Holiday, or Kristaps Porzingis first. But they may trade Jaylen Brown because he is making a bunch of money next year. He signed that contract, I believe it was last year or the year prior, where he was the richest player in NBA history. So if the Celtics look to move off him, this writer thinks the Spurs should take a swing at him. And in this trade proposal, the Spurs get Jaylen Brown, obviously. The Celtics would in turn receive Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, the number 2 pick in this upcoming draft, the number 14 pick, and a 2030 first-round pick via the Spurs, Dallas, or Minnesota. And sometimes the picks can get kind of confusing, but I think what that means is out of the Spurs, the Mavericks, and the Timberwolves, whoever has the best draft pick, this Celtics could then pick between those 3 teams. I think that's how it works. Let me know down below if you know the specifics of that trade, or that pick, I should say. So essentially it takes 3 players, 3 picks for Jaylen Brown. 3 first-round picks. And one of those picks is a really good pick at the number 2 pick. So first initial reaction for me is, if I'm the Celtics, I would do this in a heartbeat. Like, you're getting the number 2 pick, which is Dylan Harper. Not only are you getting Dylan Harper, which I think could be a really good pick, you're getting a cheaper option for a combo guard. So then you are given a runway to trade Derek White or Drew Holiday, because you have Dylan Harper now. You have the number 14 pick, which again, you get another decent quality role player for cheap. You're getting Devin Vassell, who, again, gives you flexibility if you want to trade him or if you want to trade Drew Holiday or Derek White. Again, you get Keldon Johnson, who is a decent player. You might want to trade that contract, though, depending. You might want to keep him. You get Jeremy Sohan, who's a cheap option right now. Let him play with the Celtics for a year or 2, and then if you want to extend him, you can. And then you get, obviously, another first-round pick in 2030. It gives the Celtics much more flexibility, much more dynamic way of running the roster because you have so many options. The big thing is you're getting Dylan Harper, who could be Rookie of the Year next year, who could end up being the best player in this draft when it comes down to it. So I think Celtics would take this in a heartbeat. Would the Spurs do this? And as a Spurs fan, I hope not. If the Spurs made this trade, I would make a video for it for sure. I would be in utter disbelief why the Spurs would make this trade. Because in this scenario, not only do I feel like this trade is a little lopsided, and you can argue with me in the comments if you don't think so, and maybe I'm being a little biased because I am a Spurs fan, but you're getting 3 first-round picks, and again, 2 of them are lottery picks, and one, for God's sake, is the number 2 pick. So it's like you're getting a really premium first-round pick. It's not like just regular 3 first-round picks that some don't even convey. No, you're getting 3 first-round picks, and one is a premium pick. Then you're getting Devin Vassell, who's a really good young player, very good offensive player, who's been inconsistent, but again, what young player isn't. Get Keldon Johnson, pretty good, and then Jeremy Sohan, who I think can be really good, who can defend 1 through 5 on a cheap rookie deal. And it's like the Celtics don't have the power in this trade scenario. If they came to the Spurs, like the Spurs, again, it's been reported that they're looking to trade for an all-star to pair with Victor Wembanyama. But I just don't see, that's not really the Spurs way. Not only do they not make trades, like, in their whole history, really, they never really signed big free agents, and that it's just not the way that the Spurs would do things, it seems like. And yeah, you could say they traded for De'Aaron Fox last year, or even it was this last deadline, but that was because it was literally handed to them on a silver platter. They had to give up a bag of chips, a can of tuna, and 2 Tootsie Rolls. They didn't have to give up anything for that. So of course they took it. And you make that trade 10 out of 10 times if you're any team. So the Spurs hold the power in the scenario because we're good regardless. We defied the odds getting the number 2 pick. We have the 14th pick because of Atlanta. And we got De'Aaron Fox for cheap because he wanted to come here. We have the most valuable piece in the NBA, like ever, it looks like. You could probably get 10 first-round picks for Victor Wembanyama. You have good young guys on this team, like Keldon Johnson, Jeremy Sohan, Devin Vassell, Stephon Castle, the Rookie of the Year. Heck, if you're the Spurs and draft Dylan Harper at 2, you could have 3 Rookie of the Years in a row. The Spurs, I don't know, a lot of people will say that the Spurs are going to have a logjam at the guard spot. You would make it work. In this scenario, Dylan Harper is so much better than everyone else. I think it's a clear Cooper Flag is the number 1 prospect. Dylan Harper is the number 2 prospect. And then there's guys like Ace Bailey, VJ Edgecombe, Trey Johnson, who would be in that 3rd tier. But Dylan Harper is clearly in a tier on his own. I don't think that's without question. So the Spurs, why would you do this? Like, you're in a great spot. You can keep all your picks. You can pick Dylan Harper at 2 and then get either a wing or a big at 14. You still have some cap space to maybe sign a free agent. You can extend Fox this summer. You don't need to rush into anything, and I don't think the Spurs will, unless something is offered to them that they can't refuse. But this is not it. This is not a trade I don't think the Spurs should make. But you're getting rid of a lot of your depth. Yeah, you're getting a big upgrade in Jaylen Brown. You'd have a lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Jaylen Brown, Victor Wembanyama, Harrison Barnes, and either Champagnie if you want shooting, or just best player available like Stephon Castle or Dylan Harper in that lineup. And then on the bench, you'd have Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper on the bench, possibly Champagnie. And that's really it. And then your future draft capital is still in a good spot, but it's not a great spot like it was before. And it's just, I don't know why the Spurs would make this trade. I think the writer that made this trade it's from a Celtics. Yeah, it's from a Celtics website. So yeah, of course it is a little biased, I guess. And maybe I'm being a little biased. Let me know down below if you think this is a fair trade for Jaylen Brown. Maybe it is. Like value-wise for value-wise, yes. But my thing is, it's not fair because the Spurs have more leverage in this scenario. There's no need for the Spurs to go out and get Jaylen Brown. And people will say, well, they need to speed up the timeline. They were trashed last year. What I would say to that is the Spurs in a very competitive West were competing for the play-in spot, and we're in the play-in for most of 2024. Then it came January where we went on a bad run. We were not playing well. And then come All-Star weekend, we got De'Aaron Fox. Victor Wembanyama played with him for like 6 games, and then he had the blood clot. And apparently that was hindering him. He was feeling low energy for a while at that point. So maybe that was partially the reason why we were losing a lot of those games in January. Who knows? The point is, we were competing for the play-in in a very tight West last year. Where next year, Victor's going to be better. He's in his year 3. Apparently he's taller. Hopefully he's stronger. You're getting De'Aaron Fox, who not only is just obviously much better than what we had last year for starting point guard, which is Chris Paul, but he has time to work with Victor Wembanyama and the rest of the team, so he has time to get accustomed to this team. Because when he came to the Spurs, it was during the rodeo road trip. He didn't really have time to practice with the team, get familiar with the team. We have all the young guys who should be getting better because they're playing together again and because they're just growing up and learning their roles, like Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan, Keldon Johnson. We have Stephon Castle, a year two Stephon Castle, Rookie of the Year. You would have Dylan Harper, and then you would have a big or a wing that you draft at 14, like Thomas Sobel or Carter Bryant. That would be a deep team. It would be a young team. It would be a fascinating team to watch. And I think they would be competing for a play-in for sure next year. For sure. So Spurs don't need to make this trade at all. And if they made this trade, I think I would cry, honestly. I could cry if the Spurs made this trade. But let me know what you guys think down below. Again, I am a Spurs fan, so maybe I'm biased. Is it that the right value for Jaylen Brown? Am I overreacting? Do you think the Spurs should trade for a star? Let me know which one you would like to get, like Kevin Durant, Giannis, Jaylen Brown. Let me know what you agree with, disagree with. Let me know down below.